everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thanks for stopping by. My name is Carol and I am glad to have you here. So we are in the throes of winter here, mid-January of 2024. So I thought today I would show you how to make beef chipotle chili. Chili is always fantastic in the wintertime, right? So I thought we would give it a try today. This recipe is inspired by a canning recipe that comes from the all-new Ball Book of Canning, and I do have the canning video for you. If you're a canner and you'd like to can it up, it is absolutely fantastic. The instructions for it are a little bit different than what I'm going to show you here, so make sure you refer to that video if you want the canning version. But I wanted a version that I could make up on the fly as well, so I kind of used that as my guide. You know me, I add Carol twists and turns here and there, so that's what we're going to be making today. The star of the show is going to be chipotle peppers in adobo. If you've never seen them, you can get them in the international foods aisle of your grocery store with the Mexican foods, and they're absolutely fantastic. Now, you're not going to need the whole can. You rarely need the whole can for a recipe, so what I like to do is I like to use however many I need for my recipe. In today's case, we're going to use 2. So the rest of them, what I like to do is put in a freezer bag and just stick them in the freezer, and then when I need 1 or 2, I just pull them out. So don't feel like you have to come up with ways to use the whole can at once. Typically, you only use 2, 3, maybe 4, and there's double that amount at least in a can of them. So just know you can freeze them. They freeze fantastically and there is no waste. So anyway, that's going to be the star of our show. That's basically how we are going to be seasoning our chili. Now, of course, you could always add your other dried spices, which I will, as you'll see in the video with this, but that's really the main flavor that we are going for here. Traditionally, chili is made with ground beef. In this case, we're going to be using a chuck roast or stew meat, either one. I cut mine up pretty small and really nice 1/2 to 1 inch cubes, just to make it quicker cooking. But that is going to be the meat we're going to use instead of ground beef. I also added 1/2 pound of chorizo sausage, which is totally optional, but really, really delicious here. Just know that it's going to add another layer of heat. For those of you who do not groove on heat, I would decrease the amount of chili peppers and adobo that you are using, and I would not use the chorizo. You could use another type of sausage you would like that is not quite as spicy. The sausage in chili is really fantastic, and then you have the other texture of the beef, the stew meat that we're going to use. So you've got a lot of different textures going on here. We're also going to be using black beans and pinto beans. You could use any beans that you like, but those are the ones that were from the original recipe, and I think they're really fantastic here in the chili. Just know when we throw everything together, if you are one who is sensitive about the texture of your beans, know that you could add the beans later instead of for the full cooking time, or you could throw in another can at the very end, however you would like to do it. I am using canned beans here. You could certainly use dried beans, just rehydrate them and cook them separately, and then put however many you wanted in your chili. There's a lot of adjusting you can do here. Everything is to your taste. So if you want it spicier here, like I said, you could up the number of chilies and adobo you're using. They are pretty spicy on their own, so if you like a lot of heat, just use more. Back to our ingredient list. The 2 meats I talked about, chorizo and then the beef chuck roast. Beans, we're using black and pinto beans. We are also going to be using diced fire roasted tomatoes. I used the canned ones. If you don't like the fire roasted, again, you're probably going to be adding a little bit of heat, a little bit of smoky flavor in the background by using those. If you don't like those, you can use any canned tomato that you prefer. The other thing you're going to need is a sweet onion. Also, you're going to need some fresh peppers. I used 1 red and 1 green. You can change that up. You could use all red, you could use all green, you could throw in some jalapeno if you want something spicier. You could use poblano. Any type of pepper here is appropriate, whatever appeals to you. So I'm going to bring you in close and we're going to get started. Okay guys, we're going to start by cooking our chorizo sausage. Right, once your chorizo is fairly well cooked, it's kind of hard to tell because chorizo has a lot of paprika to it, so it's red, has a lot of red in color. And the brand that I bought looks like it's pretty wet, so it was a little bit difficult to tell when it was done. But we're gonna continue to cook our soup, so I'm not concerned about how done it is, but we're gonna remove that. And then we are gonna go ahead and add our stew meat to our pan. Mine is cut pretty small, about 1-inch cubes. And we're going to brown our stew meat or our chuck roast. If there wasn't enough fat in your sausage, you can add a little more oil to your pan. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. All right, once your beef is browned, we're gonna remove it from our pan. Now we are going to add 1 chopped pepper, 1 chopped red pepper, 1 chopped green pepper, and a whole sweet onion. And saute those until they are tender. Okay, once your veggies are fairly tender, then we are going to go ahead and add our meat back in. Beef, the chorizo sausage. We're going to add 1 can, or I home can mine, of tomato sauce. And then 2 cans of fire roasted diced tomatoes. All right, we're also gonna add a little bit of water, about 2 cups of water. We're gonna add 1 can of pinto beans and 1 can of black beans that have been drained and rinsed. Then I'm gonna add 2 chopped chilies in adobo. Amazing flavor there. For dried seasonings, I'm gonna add about a teaspoon or so of dried garlic powder. You could use fresh garlic if you prefer. I'm also going to use about 2 teaspoons or so of ground cumin and a couple of teaspoons of seasoned salt. 2. Then I'm gonna add 1 bay leaf. We're gonna put the lid on, take it down to a simmer, and we're gonna let it simmer until our meat, our stew meat, is fall apart tender. And when we get there, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, I've been simmering with the lid on for about 2.5 hours or so. My beef has gotten nice and tender. My beef chunks are nice and tender, and the vegetables are all nice and cooked, and it's looking really yummy. So now we're gonna finish it off. Okay, this step is optional, but it's really delicious. I like to balance out the heat with a little bit of sweetness. I love using agave nectar in chili. It is absolutely amazing. If you don't have any agave on hand, you can always use a little bit of brown sugar, but we just want a tablespoon or 2 just to help balance out some of that heat. It is pretty spicy. And again, you can adjust the heat level by adding fewer chipotle peppers or not using the chorizo sausage. So got that in there. Then I'm going to add just a little bit of Worcestershire just to deepen the flavor a little bit. And this part is my absolute favorite. We are going to squeeze the juice of 1 lime into our chili. This is amazing in the background, so yummy. So we're gonna give that a stir. Also, I encourage you at this point to taste it to see if it needs any more salt. You could add pepper, you could add more cumin, you could add some chili powder if you think that it needs it. Really, most of our seasoning should come from the chorizo sausage and from the chipotle peppers, but if you want more, you can do that now. We're gonna let it simmer with the lid off until it is your desired thickness, anywhere from a half an hour to an hour, and then our chili is all done. Okay guys, we are all done. Does that not look amazing? It's still steaming. Anyway, I cooked for an additional half hour, and I just wanted to bring you in close and show you how I like to finish mine off. I like to add a little bit of cheddar jack cheese, a little bit of dollop of sour cream, and then a little bit of cilantro. Doesn't that look amazing? Okay guys, does that not look amazing? Little something different, right? So yummy. I hope you will give it a try. Another thing that I wanted to mention, if you still want to add some body or thicken your chili just a little bit more, at the very end you can do a cornmeal slurry. Not cornstarch, but actually use cornmeal, and it adds a delicious little bit of a corn flavor in the background. You just take 1 part cornmeal, the same thing you use to make cornbread with, and 2 parts cold water, and mix it together just like you would a cornstarch slurry. Pour it into your soup, bring it up to a simmer, and it will thicken your chili really nicely for you and add a little boost of flavor in the background. So I hope you enjoyed coming along with me today. If you have any comments or questions, leave them for me in the comment section. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.